we'll start the next topic, that is the component level design. So in the previous discussion, in the previous topic, we had discussion over architectural design. Architectural design is done from the point of view of overall structure of the software. Okay, overall structure of the software, that our orientation was different in the architectural design, because that was talking about the overall structure of the software, that will that your software will comprised of different modules. Here what we are going to do, we are going one in the granular level, one step below, from the abstraction, overall abstraction of the software design, that is the architecture level. So component means your software is composed of different components. So how the components will be designed, we will learn today that. So first let's understand what is the component, then only we'll be able to understand how to design these component. So what is component? Okay, the component is defined as a modular, deployable, okay, replaceable. These are the characteristics you have to understand. It can be it is deployable, it can be replaced anytime when you want. Okay, deployable, part of a system that encapsulates implementations and exposes a set of interfaces. Okay, so we have one module, or you can say component, and it is integrated in a system. So it has some characteristics. First one is it can be deployable wherever you want, you can deploy after the development, after the design. So replaceable, whenever you want you can replace it from the system. Suppose this is your bigger system, in that this is one component. So what you can do, you can replace this one whenever you want. And what it comprised of, it can encapsulates, it encompasses, what are those things? Implementations means the logics inside it, and exposes a set of interfaces, and it will have the interface through which the other component will communicate. Suppose this is one interface, that's one interface. So these interfaces, those are there, exposes, it may be an interface will be one for input, one for output, like that. So okay, so from the perspective of component design, we have two views here, we will discuss here. So one view is the object oriented view. To design the component, we have one object oriented view. A component contains, what it contains, a component contains a set of collaborative classes. So it will contain the different classes, and they will be combined together. And as a reminder for the class, you can understand class is a, what is it is a type of, it can be considered as a template, it can be considered as a die, which has its name, it has characteristics, and also it has some behavior. So that is the class, the different classes is there. So we will, from the point of view of object oriented view, you can design the different classes, you can integrate together so that they can do the complete common job. Okay, so next one is the conventional view. So here what we keep a component contains a processing logic, it will contain processing logic, the internal data structures. Internal data structures means how the different input or whatever data you are having, that will be processed in what way, in whatever manner. So this data structure will be used for that. And you know what is the data structure? It's the way of storing the representing the data in the system. Okay, so that are required to implement the data structure, are required to implement the processing logic and an interface that enables the component to be invoked and data to be passed to it. Say for example a function. Okay, in function we have some logic implemented inside it. We have interface interface means we have the input here. The suppose function is there, so this will be the interface for input, and it will return some value here. If I will process this one, your value, it will return some value. So you have to understand the interfaces and different components by relating to the different examples. Next one, see here the component, object oriented component, how it is. So this example is the elaboration of the design component. See, during requirement engineering, an analysis class called the print job was derived. Okay, print job was derived. Okay, during the architectural design, print job is defined as a component within the system. See how the differences are coming. And component level design elaborate print job provide sufficient information to guide the implementation. So how this, if we are going to the granular levels, the information, the implementation part, the detailed information we are adding. So analysis class print job is there. These are the different number of pages. These are the different attributes are there. Okay, two functions are there. You have to compute the job cost, pass job to the printer. These are the two functions that they will do. Then design component. If we come at the design component here, you can see compute job is there, initiate the job. So print job is there. You come into the more detailed elaborated design class. See how much details we are having here. You can see here. Next one is these different operations. You can see here integrating. Then it will be interfaced for the different works. Compute job like this one and the initiate job this one. Two functions, two components again created. So you can see here how this object oriented component are designed. Okay, whatever your collaborating classes are there, that will be implemented, and here we can get the details implementation guide here. So component level design elaborate print job to provide the sufficient information to guide the implementations. So here originally we will get the detailed information how the implementation will be done. Conventional component. Next one is the conventional component. So in conventional component, which is different from your object oriented concepts. So here what we are doing, you are having the modules. Okay, so you have the design component, you have the module, page cost. These are the different data structures will be here. So component level design for component page cost. Okay, defines the data structures, algorithm interface characteristics, and communication mechanism allocated to each component. So this is the conventional component. So two components we have here from the perspective of object oriented programming, and another one is the conventional perspective. So this is the component level design for the compute page cost. So different attributes and functions are there, how this is print job is happening. So what are the basic design principles? So first one is the open closed principle. Open closed principle. So in open closed principle, what is that? A module should be open for extension but closed for the modifications. So what is here? Means whatever module you are having, it is open for extension, means you can add the functionality, okay, but you can't modify it. Say for example, in the safe home security system was there, in that you are having you have some component like detector component was there. In detector means there were different sensors was there, different sensor. So you can't modify this one, but you can add, you can extend it, you can add different sensors more here. Next one is the LSP, that is the scope substitution principle. So here subclasses should be substitutable for their base classes. So it comes from the object oriented programming language. What is the subclass and base class? You can know what is the subclass and base class. Any person, what is the subclass? Suppose you are having one class. This one C. You can name it B. And we are having some other classes. So we can inherit the property of B into these. So like this, and I am having one more class. You can also class B and class I am D. I am having D. The property of B can be inherited into the property into the class D, that is the derived class, or we also call it is a class C. We can also call it a subclass. So subclass acquires the property of B into it. So B is called known as the base class, and D is known as the derived class, or it is called the subclass. So I mean to say that public subclasses should be substitutable for their base classes. So next one, dependency inversion principle. Dependency inversion principle. So depends upon abstraction, do not depend on the concretions. So this is the dependency inversion principle. You can't change the dependency. Next one is the interface segregation principle. Many client specific interfaces are better than one general interfaces. So what is happening? Sometimes we have created for our software, we created one single general purpose interface. Okay, so our client to client and based on our requirement, the way of interaction changes with the system. So what we can do here, this principle says you create many client specific interfaces for better interfaces are better than one general. So you are having one general. So like in college also you are having different interfaces to enter your classes, like some. Okay, so suppose one we have the entry gate, different entry gates are there. So what we can do, we can categorize the interfaces, we can assign the interfaces for different type of persons to enter the college. So similarly, Here also the same principle is applied to make that is better than the common interface. Next one is the release reuse equivalence principle, that is the REP. So the granule of reuse is the granule of release. So what is this one? This is related to the reusability. The common closure principle. So classes that change together belong together. And next one is the classes that are not reused together should not be grouped together. So this is the things, the classes that change together belong together, means they can be grouped together, but the classes that they are not reused, okay, together should be kept aside, means they must not be grouped together, otherwise the problem will come to independently handling those components. So design guidelines, what is the design guideline? Components. Naming conventions should be established for components that are specified as a part of the architectural design. Oh, sorry, architectural model. And then the refined and elaborated as part of the component level model. So naming conventions very compulsory. Naming conventions tells you to understand the components, different parts of the components, different terminology used, or whatever inside is there. So convention helps to understand the components. So naming convention should be established. So whenever we are writing some report, also whatever convention inside the document we are following, in the beginning we mention like abbreviation, font size, theme, everything, some symbols if we have used, so we represent that this meaning of the symbol is that. So like that we need to do. Interfaces provide important information about communication and collaboration, and as well as helping us to achieve the OPC. So what is here? Interface, whatever interface is there, it provides important information. It provides the important information about communication and collaboration. So you can see here it, because if you are having the information, if you have information about the interfaces, then you can collaborate together how to interface those different components. So interface, whatever is there, provides the information, important information about communication and collaborations. Okay, two components, if two components are there, so interface, you have to make the interface, so how they will be communicated. So interface provides the information how to make the communication between two components, component A, component B, whatever is there. Okay, dependencies and inheritance. So it is good idea to model dependencies from left to right. Okay, and inheritance from bottom, inheritance from the bottom, that is the derived classes to top classes, that is the base classes. So you also know in what is the inheritance. Inheritance, we acquire the property from the base class to the subclasses, so it increases the reusability, of that components. Okay, so we can do this one. Next, cohesion is there. Component conventional view. So these two terms I already discussed this cohesion and that one is the coupling. So cohesion and coupling is also part of this component. In cohesion, we try to, what we do? We try to increase the interaction within the modules. Within the module, interaction is increased. We try to increase as much as interaction within the modules, but we avoid the interaction between the modules. So this one you can see here. Cohesion implies that a component or class encapsulates only attributes and operations that are closely related to one another and to the class or component itself. Whatever I said, that written. So different level of abstractions there. In that previous lectures I discussed, previous lecture I discussed in details, one by one. Functional layer, communication, sequential procedure, okay, temporal, utility, and their order also, worst to best. Coupling also. In coupling, it is the degree to which a component is connected to other components and to the external world. So this is the degree of interaction between the modules. Between the modules here. This was. And in the previous, in the cohesion, what was there? One module is there, one component is there. In that, inside, how the different components they are. That attributes, global attributes are values are there, local values are there, how they are interacting in that inside. So this interaction we increase. That's why you can see here, encapsulates only attributes, operations that are closely related to one another. That resultantly will increase the cohesion. But in coupling, this is an interaction between the dependency between the two or more than two components, that is the intercomponent dependency. This object oriented view, a qualitative measure of the degree to which classes are connected to one another. Okay, so what is the how you will understand level of coupling. So this is also this is the different types of coupling: content coupling, common coupling, control coupling, stamp coupling, data coupling is also there, routine call, type of use, inclusion or import, external. So many things are there. Okay, these different couplings we have discussed in that. So one rule is there. We should decrease the coupling. Coupling must be reduced. Coupling must be reduced, and cohesion must be increased.
Will be increased.
Okay. Next, component level designing. So how you will do? You can understand this step. Step 1, identify all design classes that correspond to the problem domain. Okay, we have identified the design classes. Next, what you will do? Then identify all design classes that correspond to the infrastructure domain, and elaborate all design classes that are not acquired as reusable components. Some of the components may be reusable, some of the component may not be reusable. Okay, reusability also has its own advantages in the software engineering. So next one, specify message details when class or component collaborate. Okay, we have to properly notify when you have to mention the message details when the class or component collaborate. Collaborate means they will collaborate to others classes. Identify appropriate interface for each component. In component level designing or in a modular designing, the interface is very important. because we can break the problem into small problems, okay, in small modules. Then the problem comes how to club them together. So if you are not mentioning the interfaces, or the interfaces are not easy, or it is not friendly, then again integration will also be a big problem for you. So identify appropriate interfaces for each components. Elaborate attributes and define data types and data structure required to implement them. See, attributes and data structure, whatever attributes means whatever variables we have taken, and next one is the data type, and for that attributes, whatever attribute you are using, for that attribute you need to select appropriate data type. Say for if string is for string, and for integer if float value is there, if the float value that real value range is very large, then you have to go for some double or more some more data structures. So okay, so these things you need to elaborate, you have to explain, okay, the data structure required to be implement them. So this is the need. Next, describe processing flow within each operation in the details. So processing flow we have we designed by the, we can know the explanation is already we have studied in the activity chart. We have sequential diagram, so many things we have discussed, so that will elaborate completely. Step 4, describe persistent data sources. Persistent data sources are nothing but the permanent repository that will work with that. Like we have the databases, some file is there, text file you are using, whether you are using any database like Oracle, or you are using MySQL, SQL Server, whatever you are using, Sybase 2. So those are the persistent data sources, and identify the class required to manage them. Who will manage that? Develop and elaborate behavioral representation for a class or component. Next one is the elaborate deployment diagram to provide the additional implementation in details, and factor every component level design representation and representation, and always consider the alternatives. I think it is clear. This the meaning, whatever is the written statement is there, the meaning is also clear. So next, collaboration diagram you already have seen. So collaboration to prepare a print job, you can see here. Submission to the production stream. So messages are passed between the objects. So print job is there. First one you can see build job. Okay. So then production job is there. Okay. Then submitted job, then job queue. So this is the production job. So whatever, suppose this is example for the print job, means you want to print one something you want to print, printing operations you need to do. So work order, you take in the work order. Okay, what is that for print job? Production job is there, then submit job, then work order order number, this one job queue. Job queue means it will be queued in a first come first serve basis. So it will start from here, printing 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, like that. So refactoring interfaces and classes, refactoring interfaces and class definitions for print job. Refactoring means you are going into the more detail now, breaking into the different subparts. So three different sub functions are refactored into three classes. That print job was there, a single job. Now here we are refactoring into three classes, each of which focuses on one function. Okay, now we came into the more detailed way. So like this, the component level designing is done. So see if this diagram is for refactoring interfaces and class definitions for the print job. You can see here work order is there. Okay, job queue is there. So separately we are making the components here. You can see here. Then production job. Then here you will do the print job. Okay, and pass job to the productions. So how many components are there? So in refactoring, what we are doing, we are breaking the print job operation into the initiate job, work order, job queue. Yeah, you can see here. So this one is further sub functions are created. Activity diagram. Can anybody tell what is the use of activity diagram? Huh? Suresh? Nobody. Activity diagram is used for which purpose?
Modeling, sir.
For which purpose?
Modeling, sir. Modeling, sir.
Modeling is a common term. Whatever diagram you will prepare, that is a modeling. Exact is specifically I am telling specific activity diagram. You can also draw the meaning from the name also. Activity diagram is there. So it resembles to the flow chart kind of thing, na? Flow chart also resembles like this. It comes. Okay. So it is an activity diagram. Whatever activity is happening, the operations is happening. We represent that flow here, na? The compute. What is the function? Compute paper cost operation can be expanded into the following. Compute paper cost. Okay, first here weight, size, color, okay, as numeric. The algorithm can be represented using a UML activity diagram for or using the pseudocode. So this paper compute paper cost is an activity. This is an operation, and how this operation will be done, that is explained here. So how it is going on, you have to validate the attributes, that inputs, whether input is correct or not. You ask the input, you need to put in the numerical form, you are putting some ABC like a string form, so that you need to validate. Then access paper, okay, you access paper database, okay, that weight will be there. Return base cost page, paper cost per page. What is the per page paper cost? Then base cost per page. After that, here size equal to b, you can say paper cost per page, and what is the paper cost per page and multiplied by 1.2, okay, 1.4, 1. Whatever value we have mentioned. So like that you can size you can mention, because whatever printing you will do, after printing you have to that some cost will incur, so you have to compute the cost. Color is custom color, we also use printing in the printing work. So there are different factors that computes the cost, its weight, its size, its color. Okay, like that. Whenever you are going to take a banner printing for any for election, for any other activity or some conference is happening, we generally go for the printing. So they charge the print cost. So how they will do that activity is there, it mentioned. So the overall objective is to understand how to mention the components details so that the program writing of the program or developing the program can be easy. In the component level, we understand it at a different levels. So a state chart is there. The transition, it will the transition from one state to another, okay, occurs as a consequence of an event. One event occurred, then the state will be changed, that some work will be done. After that, if another function or event has occurred, then the state will change to the next level. So like this is happening. So this is the state chart which represents the state at a particular instance or particular time. So this is this state chart fragment for the print job class is here, you can understand. So whatever is there, you just understand and what is the objective of this component level design and how these diagrams are helping to achieve that. So you can go through this once. I'm not going to explain this one, everything is written here. So component design for the web apps. So what is web app? Can anybody tell what is web app? We already discussed these things. Okay. What is web app? Web apps. In the
It is an application program, sir.
Okay. Any other thing?
And it is used through the internet, sir.
Is it?
It is used through over the internet, sir, through browser.
Yes. So this is the web app. So if you know what is web app, then you the topic you can understand very easily. So web app. So web app is nothing. It is also application program. Okay, it is an application that the condition is that these web apps are used over any by any browser over the internet. Okay, so this is that is why called web app. So web component is a well-defined cohesive function that manipulates content or provides the computational or data processing for an end user. Okay, a cohesive package of content and functionality that provides end user with some required capability. So this is the two points we can understand this one. Cohesive functions means cohesive, the meaning, same meaning is there, the interaction within the modules, content, okay, whatever there inside that, it does the data processing for an end user. Next, therefore component level design for web apps often incorporates elements of content design and functional design. Elements of content design as well as the functional design. So what is content design will be there, some different components are there. You can see any website, you can visualize any website. Say for example, for your college website or any financial websites or sport websites, there will be different content design. They will be grouped in a different areas in the pages. So in that there will be some functional design also that will be functioning. Say for example, payment gateway is there, search option is there. Okay, like this, and some static content will be there that will not change there is no function is there. Somewhere there is one form is there, in that you can enter functional part is there, you can enter the data, you can submit the information, you can retrieve the information. So content design for web apps. Content design, content means whatever you are writing, any information, okay, about some topic, that will encompass. So focuses on content objects and the manner in which they may be packaged for presentation to a web app and users. Okay, so basically content object contains the information, and how you will present to the user, in which hierarchy, in which order, everything is mentioned here. So it focuses on content objects and the manner in which they may be packaged for presentation to a web app and user. So consider a web-based video surveillance capability within SafeHome. So potential content and components can be defined for the video surveillance capabilities. First one, the content object that represents the space layout. Okay, and in this space layout, floor plan, you can consider one for floor plan, how the surveillance is done, how the camera is embedded in the different locations, and what are the sensors are there, with additional icons representing the locations of the sensor and the video camera. So you can see in the layout in the web, the application itself, you can represent that this is the webcam, this is the gas sensor, some other sensor is there, some motion sensor is there, different type of sensor you can mention like this. In floor plan, different video cameras are there, you can mention. So which location is there, you can mention, you can write the name below also, this look at this location in the room, in the floor plan. Okay, so this type of representation you can do very easily in the web apps. So the content objects that represent space layout, so layout is compulsory, in that you can plan. Additional icons representing the location of the sensor and the video cameras. The collection of thumbnail video captures each in separate data objects. So this is representing the different sensors are there by the icon, but you can also create a separate object, content object is there, where you can mention the thumbnail. Thumbnails means whatever snaps you are capturing from the video cameras, that can be kept there. So the collection of thumbnails videos captures, okay, each and separate data objects. And what is that? The streaming video window for a specific camera. If I click here, a separate window, okay, should be there, streaming video, where we can see live. So each of these components can separately named and manipulated as a package. Okay, so these components can be given some name, okay, and they can be manipulated, because we can access those with their name, and we can access, modify whatever changes we can have. Functional design for the web apps. So modern web applications deliver increasing sophisticated processing functions. What are those? Perform localized processing to generate the content and navigation capability in a dynamic function. Localized processing means wherever the system is there, at that location itself the processing to be done. Provide computation or data processing capability that is appropriate for the web apps business domain. Okay, so it provides, what it does, it provides computation or data processing capability. Whatever data is there, you can process that. Okay, that is appropriate for web apps business domain. So processing means what you can do, if I say the example of your that say home security surveillance, you are having storing the stream video is there, it's coming whatever is there. Okay, you stored. Then other processing, what you can do, you can split, you can split, you can add different operations is there, you can do. Okay, provide a sophisticated database query and access. Okay, in that what you can do, you functional requirement is there. Whenever I want to access, like suppose some incident around the nearby that security surveillance camera where it was implanted happened and police came. Then what he will ask, you show me the uh, 2 days back or 3 days back or 1 week back videos, all videos. So what are these? You have to throw some query. Okay, within that range you can access those videos, and you can copy, and you can transfer, or you can store in some other places in pen drive or any places. So this type of different functions are there. So provide sophisticated database query. Okay, you can file the query, you can access those things. Establish data interfaces with external corporate systems also. Okay, so you can also we can also interface external corporate systems also. For that we can access. To achieve these up capability, you will design and construct web app functional components that are identical from the software component for the conventional software. In conventional software, that like we are creating one function for one particular task. So these are the different things. Designing conventional components, design of processing logic is governed by the basic principles of algorithms. So how you will do that? Okay, you will use the algorithms. Okay, structured programming approach you will use. Okay, the design of data structure is defined by the data model developed for the system. So whatever data structure you will use, the data structure design, it will be dependent upon the data models. Okay, whatever variety of data type of data is there, you have developed, based on that your data structure will be designed. Data structure design means different types of data structure, linear and non-linear data structure are there. So int, float, string, array, linked list, tree. Okay, different things are, these are the different data structures. Wherever the suitable is there, we will use, or they use. The design of interfaces is governed by the collaborations that a component must effect. Okay, the design of interfaces is governed by the collaborations that a component must effect. Okay, suppose two components are there. Okay, so the interface, how they will be connected, for collaboration, for communications. So they will be governed by the collaborations, how a particular component will make the effect. So algorithm, you already know, set of statements. Okay, so the closest design activity to coding. So algorithm is treated as the closest design activity. So algorithm, designing of algorithm is also a part of the designing. So we are writing the algorithms for which purpose? Because finally we will write the code. So it is very closest to the coding. Diagram you are writing, from the diagram also you can translate that those flow chart is there like that into the coding part. But algorithm, it is more close to the coding part. So the approach: review the design descriptions of the component, use stepwise refinement to develop algorithm, use structural programming to implement the procedural logic, means functions or anything. Use functional methods to formal methods to prove the logic. Formal methods means you have to write one function, implement all the logics, then you give some input and take the output and prove whether it is working properly or not. Okay, like that. So stepwise refinement is there. If at one stage it is not appropriate, then you can make the changes. You can go into the more detailed side. Okay, so stepwise refinement you can do. Algorithm design model. Okay, represent the algorithm at the level of detail that can be viewed for quality. Okay, so graphical, you can represent graphically using the box diagram and flow chart. You can even use the pseudocode. Pseudocode is nothing. In pseudocode, what you are writing, the stepwise procedure you will write in the natural language. Okay, and the programming language and decision table. Decision table is nothing but the different components classes are kept in a table and the assessment is done, okay, by making the different combination of those objects in that. Okay, so structure programming is there. Structure programming is nothing. We write the code in a structure format. We have the sequence, conditional loops. So it is similar to C programming you are already doing. It's similar to that. So leads to the more readable, testable codes can be used in conjunction with the proof of correctness. Important for achieving high quality, but not enough. Decision table you can see here. I will not explain much more in this one. In the decision table, what is there in many software application, a module may be required to evaluate a complex combination of conditions and select appropriate actions based on these conditions. Decision tables provide a notations that translates actions and conditions, okay, into a tabular form. That already told you, it is a tabular form of different components, complex component you can put, and you can compare them. Basically it is here for the for comparison purpose, so that you can make the fruitful decisions. The table is difficult to misinterpret and may even be used as a machine readable input to a table driven algorithm. You can see here. See, this is the example of decision table. Okay, these are the conditions. Okay, and the rules are there. So, and what are those actions in that falls true? These are the different states you are writing. Based on that you can make the decisions, like regular customer. Okay, yes, he is regular customer, he is not. Then silver customer, okay, here, and gold customer, like this. Then overall special discount you can suggest if he's a regular customer, okay, based on his conditions. So like that, and actions based on these different values you can make some actions. You can make some decision, and then you can decide actions whether to give the discount or not. Okay, so no discount, okay, for this person's, okay, apply 8% discount for these two customers, no, this one, like that, apply 15% customers if these conditions are satisfied. So basically it helps to make the decisions to convert the logics into the programs. So programming logic, PDL, program design logic is there. Program design logic, PDL, also called the structured English or pseudocode. So this is nothing PDL. This name you may be hearing first time, that's why, but it is nothing but different from the pseudocode. This one, pseudocode, the English language we are, like we are natural language, we are communicating like we are communicating to each other. So in this way, stepwise the procedure for performing some task we can write. Okay, the same thing is called the procedure program design language. So what we complete here, incorporates the logical structure of a programming language with the free form expressibility of a natural language. Is English, okay, narrative text is there, is embedded within a programming language, okay, like syntax. So automated tools can also be used to enhance the application of the PDL. Okay, so I think we finished this topic today. Today we have completed this topic. The topic is the component level design. Okay, next topic we will discuss some more advanced topic in the designing part.